Week 4 was a difficult week to choose just 2 Incarnon adapters because some of these weapons were insane. And I got good news, one of those insane weapons is standing before you now. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're going to be diving deeper into the Incarnon Torid. The Incarnon weapons are not exactly new player friendly because new players will have a difficult time getting their hands on everything they need for the weapons. That said, we are going to be going through everything you need to know. What evolutions to pick, how does the weapon function, and how a build should look like. So that out of the way, let's jump into the Incarnon Torid. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that, just a couple of our regular free shots. The Torid is an infested grenade launcher. It's a forgotten weapon with a maximum dispo of 5 out of 5, because this one launches grenades that will stick to enemies and surfaces and leave behind for 10 seconds a cloud of toxin damage. And you know what? That's not bad. In order to fully Incarnon charge the weapon, you're gonna have to make contact between that projectile and your target. No, the cloud does not count, but on the plus side, you don't need to go for headshots, you can go for body shots. As soon as you use the Incarnon Genesis adapter on your Torid, you're gonna get the fancy new crosshairs that changes configuration as soon as you go into aim mode, and right underneath it, you'll see that loading bar. The more hits you get, the more load you get, and with any level of load, you can go Incarnon form, as the weapon will be changing appearance and growing some stuff on it. Yes, it grows some stuff. Now, from an infested grenade launcher, you're looking at an infested void energy beam weapon that functions very similarly to the Amprax. So if you know how the Amprax functions, essentially you know how this one functions. It's a limited range beam weapon. I use the term loosely because the range on this one is actually 40 meters by default. You cannot put Sinister Reach in the Exodus slot for some reason, but hey, 40 meters worth of range, what more do you want, with no drop off to the actual beam. But every time the beam jumps to one additional target, and you can hit a total of 6 targets, the initial target plus an additional 5, you will be losing some damage every time the beams jump. The maximum charge for this one is gonna be a whopping 170. And of course, my friends, what does that spell? That spells fire rate, which is absolutely insane. The range of the chain, however, is about 2 to 3 meters, so it's not overly huge, and the weapon will be dealing default toxin damage by default, which is fantastic because that means you can make corrosive or vital with a single mod. Evolution 1 simply enables the transformation of the weapon, but at level 2 you get your first real choice between Final Fusillade and Plentiful Mayhem. Plentiful Mayhem, 31 damage, flat damage. Multi-shot consumes ammo directly from capacity and increases damage by 60%, multiplicative effect. We saw this one on the Incarnon Braton and on the Incarnon Mitre, but that one was only 20% extra. The problem with this one, it guzzles ammo like nobody's business, and it's not really worth it considering the buff, because this one is simply better. Final Fusillade increases damage by 51, which is a whole lot more, and again, this is base damage, and plus 3 multi-shot on the last shot in the magazine. The last shot of the magazine thing applies to the normal form only. I'm gonna be recommending Final Fusillade. Again, the base damage is higher, and there is no need to chug ammo like nobody's business. You're better off putting fire rate on the weapon. Evolution 3 is dealer's choice. This one is the usability tree between projectile flight speed, reload from empty, lingering damage, field duration doubles on first shot. We're talking about the normal form, yes, it's about the AoE toxin cloud, and the final one, extended volley, increases magazine capacity by +9. Now, you really don't need any of these. You can charge the weapon with 2, maybe 3 shots, something of the sort, and at the end of the day, you don't need to go to a full charge before you change to Incarnon mode. My recommendation, swift deliverance with a projectile flight speed. Honestly, any of these will do just fine. The last 3 is a bit more important, significantly more important actually. Commodore's Fortune increases critical chance by 20%. This is good, it's fantastic. The problem with this one is that this one is simply better. Survivor's Edge, 15% crit chance and 15% status chance. This is gonna be the best in slot for the time being. As for Elemental Balance, fantastic. 44% status chance, but we need that crit for Hunter Munitions. The status chance is good as is. My recommendation, Survivor's Edge. The Torid can be accessed at lower mastery ranks, but this is not a weapon I would deem as new player worthy. It's cool, it's gimmicky, it's fun, and it definitely has its own flavor, but if you're a newer player getting into the game and you're looking for a solid weapon, I got your back. Link in the cards right now for a full and detailed list on new player friendly weapons. As for veterans, we're looking at a build something along these lines. We're going to be using Primary Merciless in the Excellent slot because most of the targets are going to be dying under the effects of procs, and Merciless is essentially the most reliable one. It's not your only option. It's not even the best DPS-wise because you should be going for something like Primary Frostbite, but if you don't want to go through that, Primary Merciless is still gonna be the most reliable. In the Excellent slot, we're gonna be going with Terminal Velocity, even though you don't really have anything to put into this one. We cannot put Sinister Reach on the weapon for some bloody reason, but again, your base range is 40 meters, so do you care? You shouldn't really care. Galvanized Aptitude is a no-brainer. It functions fantastically well on the beam. It does not function on the Toxin Cloud, but we don't really care about this one. We want to keep the weapon as much time as possible in its Incarnon form. And we do have that huge magazine of 170, which is why Vile Acceleration. I wouldn't go for Punch Through because it's entirely unnecessary, and you can get more fire rate out of this one. A single 60/60 mod is gonna be making viral on the weapon together with Hunter Munitions because crit sky high at 132 with critical delay alone. Here's something that you can do. Are you willing to forma one more time? What you can do is drop Rhyme rounds and go for Prime Cryo rounds. Yes, you will be losing some status chance at the expense of a ton of damage. It's definitely a good idea. Battle Sense for the critical damage and Prime Bane of the Corrupted. If you don't like Bane mods, then you can replace it with something like flat damage. Though do bear in mind you are getting awfully close to quote-unquote diminishing returns. There is no diminishing returns in Warframe. Math, however, does sort of have diminishing returns. In what sense? The more you add of the same multiplier, the less you're gonna be getting out of it. So if you don't like Bane mods, you can go for Serration or more multi-shot with Vigilante armaments, or even better yet, more critical damage through the use of bladed rounds because the base multiplier is awfully high. We're going to be testing on Corrupted Heavy Goons level 165 since we are currently using a Bane mod. Now, in order to charge the weapon, a couple of shots is all that's required. 1, 2, especially if you already got the multi-shot stacked up. As you can see, even in its normal form, the weapon does pack a punch. Look at that. AoE cloud galore, and I'm able to kill these targets without any issue whatsoever. I am not in Incarnon form right now. This is the weapon. It crits, I get myself some slash, boom, boom, fantastic, man. AoE style, no problem whatsoever. But if I activate Incarnon mode, 170 ammunition, take a look at this. Beautiful, fantastic, absolutely bloody glorious. Because you see the talents not only help the Incarnon form, but they also help the normal form of the weapon as well. So if you want to AoE vital some stuff, it's gonna be pretty easy like that. Now, since the weapon is fully stacked, or almost fully stacked right now, we can do it one more time for your viewing pleasure. No ribbon, nothing fancy. This right now is the most powerful beam weapon in the game. It is just simply insane. Now, of course, you can push past this level of performance by a lot, because the Riven disposition for the Torid is 5 out of 5 since nobody really plays with the weapon. What's a good Riven? Multi-shot crits. Multi-shot crit, my friends. You can also add a bit of flat damage, especially if you're not going to be using a flat damage mod, or in case you want to try something else with a fancy arcane. Now, I have the following. If you got a Riven, what you can do is replace the Bane mod or replace the fire rate, whatever tickles your fancy. I found that fire rate on this one, even though it's a no-brainer, is not exactly the smartest of idea because I end up burning ammo on targets that are already dead. Does that make any sense? Even in high-level steel pass. So what I'm gonna be doing is going like so, instead of the fire rate with a Riven. And I think, did I show you to you? It's multi-shot, critical chance, and damage. A whole lot of flat damage right now on the weapon. One more time, the same targets as before, just so you can see the difference in performance. The reason why I'm showing you with and without Riven is because I know that a lot of you simply do not have Riven mods. Look at that. I didn't touch him with the Incarnon form just yet. If you are a little patient, you see the performance of the weapon even in its normal form. And now it's stacked. A single projectile on that target. The AoE cloud itself is enough to nuke these targets. So if you're the kind of nostalgia player saying, hey man, I want to play the normal Torid, I don't want to play this fancy stuff, man, you can play the normal Torid just fine. But my friend, you will be losing out on this. One more time for the Incarnon form. Beautiful, glorious, absolutely bloody, fantastic. I just love the range on this one. 40 meters, even though I can't use Sinister Reach, I don't really care all that much because look at this. This is just insanity. I can kill him from over here. Better than a sniper rifle. But I hear you, dude. Standing still targets. Well, let's hop on over to the path of steel. Welcome to the Void, my friends. Now let's see what the weapon can do against Steel Path, level corrupted 130 something. I also have the Jin because having the little Panzer full profile at this point would kind of be pointless. I get plenty of vital procs essentially from everywhere, and of course, if these guys just look at me, they're gonna wish they hadn't. This is how powerful the weapon is. It chains to enemies. It is absolutely bloody insane. Look at this. And it's not even stacked just yet. Of course, Revenant makes it easier for me to hit him, but it is what it is, my friends. Now, would you like to see the normal form as well? You don't care, do you? This is the capture target. I'm gonna beam it, and it's gonna die. Rather quickly and extremely efficiently, I might add. And there's really nothing else I can show you in Steel Path. The weapon shreds, destroy, wrecks. You wanna see the normal form? Here you go, normal form. Why so dead? Why so dead? Why so jumpy? Why so jumpy? Look, I jump over your beam while you get destroyed by procs and all whatnot. The weapon is extremely powerful, and I highly recommend you pick this one up. Now, there is one thing, however. How does this one do versus an Acolyte, if that is still relevant in Warframe? This time we got Violence. Violence is coming, or is here already? Oh, was that the bubble Violence? Is that it? Is that what you are? You dead? Not dead. He went invulnerable, that's why he didn't get completely destroyed there. I'm on the wall, you can't get to me. Can't get to me. That's all she wrote. Next up, a little bit of Warframe buffs with the ever so lovely Lady Mirage Prime and her outstanding buffs. We're gonna be using Corrosive Projection, Arcane Avenger, and of course Arcane Acceleration for more fire rate, together with the little Djinn, and of course the Vigilante mod on his weapon. Once again, the Corrupted Heavy Goons, as before, we're gonna be unpausing them so they can hit me and I can get my glorious, absolutely glorious buffs. Now I want to make something very, very clear. My friends, please do not forget about the base version of the weapon because it's insane. Look what it can do. This is it. Non-Incarnon. It leaves behind these toxin clouds which add death and destruction to the battlefield. Upon contact, they absolutely annihilate whatever stands before him. I know everybody wants to play it because, hey, the new Incarnon, the new beam, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but the normal form is incredible. And if you do enjoy playing it, like I enjoy playing it, that is in both modes, don't forget about the magazine size as well as the toxin pool evolutions, because those will be coming in handy really nicely. But of course, you want to see the beam weapon, so it's beam weapon time. Fine, that's better. Okay, it's better. I didn't say it wasn't better. It is like a lot better, but still, you can play it in the old school form too, if you want to. As for conclusions on this one, the Incarnon Torid is an amazing weapon, and I absolutely love it. If you chose Incarnon Torid this week, 100% you chose right. And while it is extremely powerful, and I highly recommend it, there was one this week that outdid it by a little. You know which one that is? Look at the cards right now. As always, my name is Lazar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. If you got any feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below, if you want to see any particular type of content. You can also catch me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. Oh, and if you love the content and you want to help me keep making it, consider supporting us via Patreon. There's gonna be a link in the upper right portion of the screen right about now. But until next time, my friends, bye-bye.